Welcome to Fairfax Files. The case that we're going to cover today is about a beautiful woman by the name of Tabitha Milton Rush. Tabitha was 44 years old when her life was taken from her. When her life was taken from her two children, her ex-husband, and her family. You see, Tabitha was a woman that was married for many years. After her divorce, she stayed single for a very long time, raising her children. Then she was hit with the fear for her life. Cancer. Breast cancer took over and she didn't know what to do. She thought that her life would be over. But when she was in remission after 6 months, she decided that life needed to change. So she decided that she's going to start dating. She felt like she had a new lease on life. She wanted to be able to live life and never make any regrets. Never have any regrets. She wanted to find love, someone to share the rest of her life with. So she decided to explore some options. And she's gonna have fun. She's gonna go on the dating scene, dip her toes in, and see what it's gonna be all about. It's been a very long time since she dated, but with this new lease on life, she felt brand new. So she went online and she made a friend request to an old friend by the name of Glenn. They reconnected. He accepted her friendship request and they started to date. Now, it was moving a little bit slow and there was no promise in it, so she was taking her time. One day, she was sitting in a restaurant, having dinner, all alone, and a gentleman came up to her, not a bad-looking gentleman, and he told her how beautiful she was and how surprised he is that she's eating alone. And then he introduced himself as the chef of the restaurant. She was impressed and she thought, what a nice guy. And they started to date as well. So through both men, she was feeling her way through, thinking which one would be the best one for her. Exploring options when you're dating is very important. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket with one person if you're uncertain if they can give you what you deserve, or if you can give them what they deserve. So she's dating Glenn and she's dating Ramon. Ramon is the guy who is the chef. Glenn is the friend that she was reconnecting with. This was a all-around good woman. People loved her. Even her ex-husband and her still had a great friendly relationship. As a matter of fact, on January 1st is when she went missing. December 31st, her and her husband went to a gathering together to ring in the new year. Her husband said to the police, when he was volunteering the information, that he dropped her off at around 1:45 in the morning to Glenn's place. Glenn agreed to this. Glenn said, absolutely. We spent the whole entire day together and I dropped her off at her house at 2 p.m. And not only that, her friend was at her place, and so her friend said, yes, that is true. Glenn did drop her off and I spent time with her until 5 o'clock on January 1st, until there was a knock at the door. It was Ramon. So Ramon was uninvited, unexpected. By this point, Tabitha was dating both of the guys long enough to kind of get a good point of reference of who she was liking better. At this moment, she was liking Glenn a little bit more than she was liking Ramon. Ramon seemed to have a little bit of some negative energy around him that she just couldn't explain. This is why we always need to pay attention to our intuition. So she said, okay, Ramon, come on in. She didn't know what he wanted to talk to her about. The friend left. The friend didn't want to be a third wheel. She respected the space of the two of them and she left. Now, This was the last time anybody saw Tabitha. She went missing. They put in a report about her because she wasn't responding to the ex-husband, and it was very strange that she would not be in communication with her ex-husband because, of course, again, they were friends. So they communicated with a bunch of people, and the ex-husband said he dropped her off to Glenn. Glenn said he dropped her off at home. The friend said yes, he did. So then they contacted Raymond. Now Raymond answered the phone, and he said he was not in town. He went on an unexpected trip to go see his family. He flew there. And the police were like, okay, well, can we talk to you when you get back? And he's like, yeah. And he was so shocked, you know? So they looked up his flight information, and he was not on that flight. So then they said, you know what? We got to call him back. We got to make sure we got the flight information right before we start blaming a human being for another missing human being. They messaged him, they called him, nothing. The calls were going straight to voicemail. Well, they decided to get his records and pull his records. In the meantime, somebody in a rural area was walking their dog. A guy was walking his dog early in the morning. He looked across the field and he saw something. It looked like garbage at first. He didn't know what it was. It wasn't registering in his brain. He maybe thought it was a mannequin as well, because when he got to the body, he realized it was a human dead body. It was Tabitha Milton Rush. He called the police immediately. The police put two and two together, and they realized that it was the missing woman. So now they have a body. Now it's turned into a murder investigation. Who shows up at the police station? Raymond. With his wife. This man had a full-on wife. Could you imagine? And this wife showed up with him, having his back, saying he was with her for the whole entire January 1st. Now, the body was found on January 5th. So the body wasn't missing for a very long time. But when Raymond sat down in the investigation room, the police officers asked, "Where were you?" And he said, "I was with my wife," you know? And they said, "Well, if you're married, then what were you doing with Tabitha?" And he said, "Well, this is what happened. I went to go see Tabitha at around 5 o'clock in the evening, and I said to her, you know what, let's be together. You and me, let's be together, but we need to move." And she's like, "Why do we need to move? Like, what do you want from me? Like, I'm not going to move anywhere with you. I'm comfortable here. I have my friends, my family, my children are comfortable here." And he said, because he was married. And she said, "What? Get out." At this point, she was already choosing Glenn, but she was tired of this dude, Raymond. And she told him, "Raymond, get out. Get out, man." And she kicked him out. This is what Raymond said. So now, he said that he went home. Now, the police didn't tell him right away about the smoking gun. They let him know that they know he wasn't on a plane. Then they said to him that they checked his records, his phone records, and his phone records beeped off the tower that is closest to where the body was found. So what did he say then? He came up with a brand new story, ladies and gentlemen. He turned around and he said, "Okay, when I left Tabitha's house, I went back to my home, and then I wanted to talk to Tabitha more, but I admitted to my wife about the affair. And my wife was going crazy. So I left my house to go back to Tabitha's house to warn her." And he says, Tabitha got into the car and he says he just wanted to talk to her a little bit more about moving out together and leaving together. And she wasn't having it. All of a sudden, his wife came out the back seat and shot her in the head 2 times. That's what he said. This wife that went to the police station with him to try to stick up for him, he's now saying that this wife shot Tabitha out of jealousy. Now, obviously, this happens in life, and his story is not so unbelievable. But when they looked at the cell phone records of his wife, then that's when they knew that the wife was not present. They also sat the wife down and spoke to the wife and asked the wife as well, what's going on? And she ended up telling the truth. She couldn't believe that her husband blamed it on her. He got 38 years. Raymond got 38 years. And that's where he is right now. Since 2013, he has been serving time in prison, where he should be and where he will probably be for the remainder of his life. This woman, Tabitha, she was healed by the grace of God from her cancer. 44-year-old woman, new lease on life, trying to find love. And this guy was a predator. This guy wanted her and wanted nobody else around her. He wanted to move her away, give her a new life, be her one and only. But he was not good enough, and she knew it. So what did he do? If he couldn't have her, nobody was. Not even her own children. This is the epitome of the most selfish human being, when they take another person's life because they were rejected. You have to be a rejection specialist in life. You have to know when to say, that person doesn't want me, then I'm going to move and take myself somewhere else where someone does want me. Make it work with your wife, this woman that was willing to have your back. But he didn't. Instead of taking himself home to his wife, he took somebody else's life. Tabitha Milton Rush, I know you are an angel living in the bosoms of God's love, living in God's arms and God's grace. I pray for your children to always feel your presence. My deepest condolences goes out to your family. Thank God your children have such a good dad to make sure that he can pick up the pieces. Thank you so much for watching Fairfax Files. My name is Cerise, and I look forward to seeing you in our next case every Friday. Please take a moment to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the like button. It lets YouTube know that you enjoyed this video and this story. And it also lets me know that you enjoyed spending time with me. Have yourself a safe day. Be careful out there.